I didn't disappear because I wanted to be alone. I disappeared because I was afraid of what I had become. After abuse, real abuse, the kind that tries to leave permanent damage, I withdrew from the world completely. No people, no trace. I didn't want to be found. I lived with machines. They kept the room hot. They kept me awake. I slept only when they were perfect, watching temperatures hash rates, listening for failure, listening for proof I was still here. There were no voices, so my mind made them. I talked to myself constantly in public and private. I didn't know what was real anymore. This wasn't sadness, this was isolation at a level meant to break a person, and it worked. The only reason I survived was the idea of her, the person I loved most in the world. The future we were supposed to have, the life I believed was waiting if I could just endure long enough. That belief kept me alive, literally. And when I finally came back, when I did the impossible and returned to the world, I looked for her immediately. She was looking for me too. But it was 5 years too late. The year we were meant to be married was the year she had to move on because I wasn't there. Everything was stolen by abuse, even the reason I survived it. This song is not about sadness. It's about what happens when love keeps you alive, long enough to watch the future it promised belong to someone else.
I reached out to the person I loved most. I reached out because I was breaking. She said we were never really friends. That sentence did something permanent. It erased the past, it rewrote every memory, it told me the place I thought I belonged had never existed. After that, I stopped trying to be understood, I stopped trying to be seen, I stopped believing anyone could tell the difference between me disappearing and me dying. That was the moment I went underground. No accounts, no photos, no signal, no name. I didn't want to be found. I didn't want to be remembered. That sentence followed me everywhere. I heard it when the room was quiet. I heard it over the machines. I heard it in my own voice. It became instruction. It became proof. It became permission to vanish. I built a system that didn't need people, machines in rows, heat I could feel, noise I could measure. I lived inside their performance, temperatures, hash rates, fans, uptime. I slept only when everything was stable. I woke up before anything could fail. Rest was a risk, vigilance was safer. The room stayed hot, the air stayed loud, time stopped behaving normally. I talked to myself to stay oriented, instructions, status checks, corrections. I said things out loud so they would exist somewhere outside my head. There were no days, there were only cycles. Watch, adjust, wait, I missed her. I wanted her. Those things went underground with everything else that could hurt me. I lived in temps and algorithms and encryption and control. Human things stayed buried so the system could keep running. The machines never lied, they never told me I hadn't been real. As long as they were running, I knew where I was. After a while, the talking stopped being optional. I answered myself without deciding to. I heard responses before I finished asking. At first, it was useful, reminders, checks, warnings, then it wasn't. I started securing things that weren't at risk, covering cameras that weren't there, watching exits I didn't use. I adjusted my routines to avoid being predictable to no one. I heard voices in public, not loud, familiar, uninvited. I learned how to keep walking while answering them. I checked reflections, I checked shadows, I trusted systems more than faces. Paranoia didn't arrive suddenly, it accumulated layer by layer like insulation. It kept me warm, it kept me alive, it kept me alone. I didn't think I was losing my mind. I thought I was adapting. There was one thing I did not dismantle. I kept it untouched, because touching it would have destroyed it. I believed I would make it back. I believed there was a time where I would stand in front of her and everything would resume. I remembered specific things, the way she moved her head side to side like she was saying, "Look at this." A
I'm being fancy. The way her lip curled right before she wanted to be kissed, those details stayed accurate. They did not decay, they did not change under pressure. I remembered that she asked me to marry her. That fact stayed intact when everything else dissolved. I didn't imagine new futures, I preserved one. Every day I stayed alive was in service of that return. That belief was not hope, it was instruction. Without it, I would not have survived.
I learned the timeline. 5 years, not approximately, not emotionally. 5. The second year of my absence was the year we were supposed to be married. That was not coincidence. That was sequence. I was not replaced, I was absent. The future did not betray me, it continued. She built a life because a life cannot wait for someone who does not exist. That understanding arrived cleanly. There was no confusion. There was no argument to make. I survived long enough to discover that survival had an expiration date. Everything I endured was in service of a moment that no longer existed. Nothing was taken from her. Nothing was stolen from him. The loss belongs to me because the absence was mine. That is the part that does not heal. The reason I lived ended without me, and I am still here.
The isolation did not end. It changed shape. I am still alone. That part never reversed. There is no one here. That she exists is all I have. The idea keeps me oriented, not happy or safe or healed. Oriented. She is my tether to reality, not because she knows it, not because she asked to be, because loving her is the only thing that never turned against me. This work, this remembering, this writing, this restraint is how I stay sane. I carry it so she does not have to, or I try to. I keep the weight off her on purpose, as best I can. She deserves a good life. She deserves freedom. She deserves happiness. I don't know if that includes me. So I hold all of this in the empty space where she is not. That space is vast. It's most of the time. This is not hope. This is how I live, without disappearing again.
She is back in my life now. Not as a promise, not as a future. As herself, she fills the space with laughter, with light, with the same playful joy she has always carried. The side-to-side look, the sudden brightness, the way the room lifts without effort. Nothing about her has dimmed. That is what hurts the most. Because I remember this version, because this was always her, because the joy survived even when everything else did not. She makes me laugh again, and for a moment, I feel almost human. Then I remember what that laughter once meant, what it was attached to, what it was supposed to become. Joy returns, but the future does not. I hold both carefully. I do not tell her what it cost me. I do not let it touch her. She deserves her light, even if it burns me. So I smile, I laugh, I stay present, and I carry the rest. Alone.
When we are together, I am unbroken. Not fixed, unbroken. For that time it feels finished, like vows were said without witnesses. I laugh, I move, I forget myself. What happened doesn't vanish. It loses its grip. I had no youth, I was a man early. No carelessness, no dancing. She opened that door with her. I become the boy that never existed free. She takes my hand and I am there before the 7 years began. Then I take her home. Her home. Mine waits empty. When I leave, the weight returns, immediate, exact. Nothing comes with me. I lie down, the body remembers. Sleep resists, morning punishes. I last until the next time. She frees me. This is what remains after my lost 7 years.